Welcome to Echo Nomad Radio. Today's story comes from a man I'll call David. He's 45 now, and he hasn't had a full night's sleep in 7 years. Not since his father's funeral. When David was 32, he discovered his entire childhood was built on a lie. His mother had kept him from his father for 18 years, hidden letters, blocked calls, manufactured stories about abandonment that never happened. David learned the truth. He had 8 years to pick up the phone, to write back, to say, "I know now, I'm sorry." He never did. This is the story of a man who let pride kill his chance at redemption, and his father died believing his son hated him. Here's what David told me. I was 6 years old when my father left. That's the story I grew up with. That's what my mother told me. That's what I believed for 26 years. Dad walked out when I was in first grade, never called, never wrote, never paid a dime in child support. My mom raised me alone, working 2 jobs, struggling, sacrificing. And I grew up knowing my father was the kind of man who abandons his kid and never looks back. I built my entire identity around that story. I was the kid who succeeded despite him. Every achievement, scholarships, college graduation, my first real job, all of it was proof that I didn't need him, that I was better off without him. My mom would say things like, "You're nothing like your father. You're responsible. You show up. You finish what you start." And I wore that like armor. When I was 17, my father tried to contact me. A letter arrived. My mom brought it to me, said, "This is from him. You don't have to read it if you don't want to." I ripped it up, didn't even open it, told her to tell him to never contact me again. She said, "Are you sure?" I said, he had 17 years. Where was he when it mattered? That felt powerful, like I was the one in control, like I was rejecting him the way he'd rejected me. I didn't know I was rejecting the only apology I'd ever get. My father died when I was 40. Heart attack. Sudden. I got a call from a woman I didn't know, his wife, second wife. She said he'd passed, that there was a funeral in 3 days, that I was welcome to come if I wanted to. I didn't want to. But my wife said, "You should go, even if it's just for closure." So I went, not to mourn, just to, I don't know, see it end, I guess. The funeral was small, maybe 20 people. His wife, 2 daughters I didn't know existed, my half-sisters, some friends, an aunt I vaguely remembered from childhood. After the service, my aunt approached me. She looked at me for a long time, like she was deciding whether to say something. Then she said, "Did your mother ever tell you about the letters?" I said, "What letters?" She looked horrified, said, "Oh God, you don't know." Then she gave me a key to a storage unit, said, "He kept everything. He wanted you to have it if this ever happened." I drove to that storage unit the next day, hands shaking, unlocked it. Inside were boxes, dozens of boxes, all labeled with years, starting the year my parents divorced. Letters, birthday cards, Christmas presents, checks for child support, every single one returned, stamped, refused. 18 years of trying to reach me, legal documents, custody petitions, court orders my mother had fought and won, documentation of visitation requests denied, phone logs showing blocked numbers. My father hadn't abandoned me. My mother had erased him. There were letters addressed to me, opened, read, never given to me. In one, when I was 8, "I know you probably won't get this. Your mom has every right to be angry with me. Our marriage ended badly. But I need you to know. I think about you every single day. I'm so proud of the kid you're becoming. I see your school photos. I know you made the baseball team. I know you're smart and kind. I wish I could tell you that in person. I'm still trying. I won't stop trying. I sat in that storage unit for 6 hours, reading, crying, realizing. Every story my mother told me, recontextualized. She wasn't the hero. She was the one who kept us apart. And I had spent 26 years hating the wrong person. I found the letters when I was 32. My father died when I was 40. That's 8 years. 8 years where I knew the truth. 8 years I could have called him. 8 years I could have said, I was wrong, I'm sorry, can we start over? I did none of those things. You want to know why? Pride. I was so angry at my mother for lying to me that I used my silence as a weapon against her. I knew it would hurt her if I reconciled with him, and part of me wanted her to hurt the way I was hurting. I told myself I needed time to process, to figure out what I wanted to say, to wait until I wasn't so angry. But that was bullshit. The truth is, I was punishing both of them, my mother for lying, my father for, I don't even know, for not trying harder, for remarrying and having other kids, for moving on with his life when I was stuck in the story she'd created. My therapist asked me once, what would it cost you to reach out to him? I said, my pride. She said, and what will it cost you not to? I didn't have an answer then. I do now. My wife begged me, said, David, he's 67. He's not going to live forever. You have the chance to fix this. Why are you waiting? I said, I'm not ready. My half-sisters reached out, twice, said, he talks about you all the time. He'd love to hear from you. He doesn't blame you for anything. I never responded. I kept thinking, I'll do it when I'm ready, when I've processed it all, when I can show up as the version of myself that's healed and whole and not just angry. I thought I had time. I had 8 years. And I wasted every single one. At the funeral, my half-sisters were kind to me. Kinder than I deserved. The older one, Maria, hugged me, said, I'm glad you came. He would have wanted you here. I asked her, did he ever talk about me? She looked at me with this expression I'll never forget, not pity, not anger, just sadness. She said, all the time, he loved you so much. He understood why you couldn't forgive him. He just wished you knew it wasn't his fault. I said, I knew. I found the letters 8 years ago. I knew the truth. Her face changed. She stepped back from me. She said, you knew? For 8 years you knew? And you never called him? I couldn't answer. She said, he died thinking you hated him. He died thinking you blamed him for leaving. We told him you didn't know the truth, that if you knew, you'd reach out. That's what kept him going. Then she said something that shattered me. 2 months ago, he asked me if I thought you'd come to his funeral. I said yes. I said, David will come. And maybe that'll be the moment you two finally reconcile. He smiled, said, I hope so. I'd like that. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, he was waiting for you, even at the end. And you knew, and you let him die waiting. Then she walked away. I stood there in that funeral home, surrounded by people mourning a man who loved me, and I realized I had become the abandoner. Not him, me. He tried for 18 years. I had 8, and I chose pride over his redemption. People ask me, do you blame your mother? Yes, of course I do. What she did was unforgivable. But that's not what keeps me up at night. What keeps me up is this. My mother lied to me when I was a child. I had no control over that. I was 6 years old. I believed what I was told. But I was 32 when I learned the truth. 32, a grown man, a father myself by then. I had 8 years to do the right thing, 8 years to give my father the one thing he'd been asking for since I was 6 years old. Proof that I didn't hate him. And I withheld it. Not because I didn't know better, not because I was confused, not because I was a child who didn't understand. I withheld it because I was angry and I wanted someone to pay. My father paid. With his life, his last years, his hope for reconciliation. He died believing I blamed him. He died believing I thought he abandoned me. He died without ever hearing me say, "I know the truth now. I know you tried. I'm sorry I didn't listen." My mother is still alive. We don't speak. I can't forgive her, and honestly, I don't want to. But you know what? She's not the one who haunts me. I haunt myself because I had the power to fix this. I had the truth. I had the time. I had his phone number. And I chose my pride over his peace. That's the part I can't forgive. My father left me something in his will. Not money, not property. A letter. His wife gave it to me after the funeral, said he wrote it 5 years ago, updated it every year, just in case. I didn't open it for 6 months. When I finally did, it said, "David, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I want you to know I never stopped loving you. I never stopped hoping. I understood why you couldn't forgive me or why you thought you couldn't. Your mother and I hurt each other badly and you got caught in that. I'm sorry for my part in the pain that caused you. I know you found the letters. Maria told me. I waited, thinking you might call. When you didn't, I told myself you needed time. That was okay. I had time. Except I didn't. I want you to know something important. I forgave you before there was anything to forgive. You were a child who believed what you were told. You were a young man who was angry and hurt. That's human. That's understandable. But David, forgive yourself. Whatever you're carrying, let it go. Don't spend your life hating yourself for being human. Don't let pride or guilt keep you from the people who love you. I'm at peace. I hope you find peace too. I love you. I always did. Dad. He forgave me before I ever apologized, and that somehow makes it worse. David is 45 now, 7 years past his father's funeral. He has 2 sons. He talks to them every day. He never misses a call. He never delays an apology. But he still can't sleep through the night because he knows something most people don't learn until it's too late. Forgiveness has an expiration date. Here's what David learned. You can have all the time in the world and still run out. You can be absolutely right about who wronged you and still be the one who causes the greater harm. You can wait for the right time to do the hard thing, and that right time never comes because the right time was always now. Ask yourself, who are you punishing with your silence? What conversation are you delaying because of pride? What apology are you withholding because you're waiting to be ready? And here's the brutal question David asks himself every day. What if they die tomorrow? Not in a year, not in 5 years, tomorrow. Could you live with that silence being the last thing between you? David had 8 years. He told himself he had time. He told himself he'd do it when he was ready. He told himself his father would understand. And maybe his father did understand. But understanding doesn't undo the pain of dying while waiting for your son to say, "I know you tried." I want to say this to you who are listening to this now. If there's someone you need to reach out to, someone you've been avoiding because of pride or anger or because you're not ready, make the call, send the text, write the letter today. Not because they deserve it, not because you're ready, not because the timing is perfect, but because you don't know how much time you have. And David didn't either. David's father is gone. The 8 years are gone. The chance for his father to hear, "I'm sorry," while it mattered, gone. All that remains is the echo. Subscribe if you're ready to face what you've been delaying. The next story is already here. Thank you for listening.